Hello, welcome. Welcome to another Tuesday Night Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I am located in the United States, in Oregon. Let's go ahead and see who we have on, and then we'll get started. All right, let me turn the volume off so we don't have double speaking here. That would be terrible. And when you jump on, go ahead and tell me who you are and let me know if it's your first time and where you're located if it is your first time. And then we will get busy. I've got two projects for you tonight. We'll have one card and one 3D project that will be easy to adapt to any holiday. But most importantly, for the holiday coming up, we have less than a month till Christmas, and you might need some little gifts to hand out to the post person or maybe to your hairdresser or something like that. Hello, Cynthia. Welcome. And the little treat that we have tonight will be quick and easy. So we will wait just another minute or so for people to jump on, and then we'll get started. Okay, just want to remind you that the last chance list is out and the sale is live. So any of the discounts are active. Quite a few things have already sold out. So be sure to check that out. There are things that will be carrying over, and those items that are carrying over that are offered in a bundle will be unbundled in the next after January 3rd. And then you'll have to pay full price for each of the items. So if there's a bundle that you're interested in, be sure to get that bundle price before it goes away. Let's see, Winter Owls is on the retiring list, so it's available while supplies last or January 3rd, whichever comes first. And this is a great little bundle, especially if you're a Harry Potter fan. This little owl resembled Hedwig quite nicely, and so you might want to get it for just that reason if you're a Harry Potter fan. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in, and let's get started on our card. Okay, so I'm going to set these aside. The Winter Owls is a 9-piece cling stamp set. That means it's red rubber. Of course, most of the stamps are out because we're going to be using them tonight. And then there is a coordinating 10-piece die set. All of these images do cut out with the dies. The only one that doesn't is the snow here. And then, of course, the sentiments don't cut. And then you have some extra pieces. So you've got this tree trunk, that's an extra piece, branches, the wings of the owl, and then this detailed owl. We're not using those tonight. I guess I should have cut some just so you could see what they look like. But I've seen these cut in gold foil or something and then added to a Ferrero Rocher for the golden snitch from Harry Potter. So just an idea. I didn't get to that, so I should have, so that I could have showed it to you. But anyway, that's what we're using tonight. So let's go ahead and get started on our card. So for our card, in addition to the Winter Owls, I'm going to be using the Nested Essentials, and I'm going to be using this second die right here. And in fact, I've already cut that out. I cut this die out in a piece of basic black cardstock. You'll see that in a minute. You could, of course, use whatever you have. This really isn't necessary. I didn't want the hole in my tree trunk to show, and I could have done it differently, but I chose not to. So we're going to be using those. And then for the sentiment on this card, I'm using Countryside Corners, and I'll use the smallest, well, not the smallest, the second smallest dies for that, but the smallest of the corner ones. Okay. So let's jump right in. And for this, we need Starry Sky ink and Early Espresso. Those are the only two inks we'll be using on this card. We're starting with a piece of Starry Sky cardstock. And this is a half a sheet of cardstock, but it's cut at 4 1/4 by 11. And we are going to go ahead and score this at 2 3/4. Let me use the light gray blade. Oh, you can't see that. Let me move this down. The light gray blade on my trimmer at 2 3/4. And then I'm going to score this at 5 1/2. Okay. And we are going to make a fun fold card with this. It's going to be an easel card. So we'll burnish those score marks, and we're going to fold this 2 3/4 in just like we did the 5 1/2, so that it's going to look like this when we're done. Makes like a little triangle. We'll set that aside because we don't need it for now. We're also going to need I've already done the center piece, and this is 4 by 5 1/4 on the white. I've cut a piece of the designer series paper from the, what is this called? Stargazing paper, which is in the annual catalog. And this is 3 7/8 by 2 1/2. And then we need another piece that is 4 by 5 1/4. And then a piece of the Stargazing designer series paper that is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And that'll give us just a tiny little bit of a white border here. And we can go ahead and add this to our base layer. Okay, so we're going to add this. Easy enough so far. Okay, so we've got that. And we can set, well, let's leave this. Yeah, let's set this aside for a minute and let's do a little bit of stamping. Okay, so we're going to take this owl. No, we're not. Never mind. This owl. And actually, I need one of these owls, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp both of these at the same time to save us a little bit of time. I need both of them for the two projects. So I'm just taking a scrap of basic white, and I'm going to stamp this owl that we need for this card. And I'm going to stamp my other owl for the 3D treat holder. Oh, whoops. Yep, stuffed my finger right in that, and I forgot I do need some smoky slate. So we better grab that. Okay. I'm going to move my arm out of the way of that before I get that all yucky. Okay, now let's take a little bit of smoky slate. And we're going to ink up the moon. Okay, and I'm going to stamp this off, I think. And then stamp it on. There we go, just a little bit lighter shade. And then finally, we're going to need our sentiment. Okay, So let's get the Warm Wishes, which is also from the Owl stamp set. And we're going to stamp that in Starry Sky. I'm going to stamp that. I'm going to stamp it up here just a little bit to make sure I've got enough room for my, I'm not very happy with that. Let's try that again. There we go, much better. Just seemed a little weak there. Okay, so then we're going to take the matching dies here to cut these out. So we'll use this die cut and this die cut. And we've got one for the moon. Okay. And those then, the pieces that we need for this card, we've got that and that. And then while we're at the die cut machine, we're going to go ahead out of a piece of basic black and we're going to cut the tree trunk, which I've already done, and that nested essential piece. Okay. Now the only piece that we really do need to die cut that I didn't do ahead is our sentiment. So we're going to take the countryside corners and we're going to place that right here, and we'll grab a little bit of Post-it note tape and line that up. And then we'll grab our mini machine here. All of these dies will fit through the mini that we needed tonight. And we're just going to run our sentiment through with plate 1 to the die and the paper. And hang on, I got to get it going the right direction because I'm right-handed. And then we'll just roll that through. Okay. All right. So there we go. I'll save these pieces and die cut them for another card for later. And put this aside. And now we can start assembling our card. So what we're going to do with this piece, oh, we forgot we needed a branch, one of the large branches out of black, basic black. And of course I've already got that die cut, and that's this die right here. Okay, so we're going to set this on here. And this is what I say, that this piece isn't absolutely necessary. When you die cut this tree trunk, it die cuts out the center, and you can just take and put this like this and cover up that hole if you like. Just put it right back. It's being fussy there. Just put it right back in here. Just line it up, and you could just use it that way and it would be fine. But I wanted to add a little bit more dimension. So I'm taking this little hexagon, skinny hexagon, right? 1, 2, 3, yep, hexagon. And I'm going to give it a little bit of an extra layer by doing this. Gives it just a little bit of an added feature. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this down. And I'm going to use some liquid glue so I can slide this into place. Okay, just going to give this a quick lay down. Then I want to make sure that my black piece is going to fit right at the bottom of my designer series paper. Okay, and that placement looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my tree branch now. And I'm going to cut just a tiny bit of the end of this branch off. It's just a little bit longer than I need it. So I'm just going to snip that with my snips. And then I'm going to lay this in here like this. Lay that down. That looks good. Put a little bit of liquid glue on here. You could use an adhesive sheet when you cut this, but I'm okay with my fine tip glue bottle that's filled with Tombow. And you don't need much of the glue. Remember, I always say if you can see it, it's enough. Okay, so we'll take this and I'm just going to slide this in here like so, making sure that my tree trunk doesn't go, or my tree branch doesn't go over the edge. And then again, I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal for this because the tree piece of this has little cuts in it to give it dimension, and I don't really want the glue running out, but I am going to put just a tiny bit right here where there aren't any cuts. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and lay this down. Like so. Keeping my my tree trunk at the bottom of my designer series paper. And I'll just give that a press. Okay, we are almost done with this card, if you can believe it. It's really rather quick. Now with my owl, because I'm going to sit it a little bit on my branch and my tree trunk, I'm going to put my dimensionals over here because this is the front side of the owl is the one that's going to stick off of the double layer of cardstock. Okay, and I'm going to sit it so it looks like she's sitting right on the branch, but still outside that knot hole. Okay, so we've got that. And now she is down. Let's add our moon. Okay. And let's put that about, I don't really want to cover up a star there, so I'm going to go ahead and put it just to the left of that star. All right, so we've got that. Now, let's add this easel part to our card. This is going to go on this bottom half only, okay? So when I do this, I want to make sure that I don't glue above this score line. And I've got just a little bit of a border here, standard 1/4 inch border. So you can eyeball half, or I'm going to just take my liquid glue, make sure that I leave myself a little 1/8 of an inch at least on all the way around. Put my glue down, and then I'm going to layer this. on. And with the liquid glue, I'll have a little bit of wiggle room. Just like that. And then I like to turn this over, take my bone folder, and make sure that that glue is set. Okay, so that's how our easel's going to work. Now let's go ahead and add the inside of our card here. Remember, this is a piece of basic white 4 by 5 1/4, and I've added a piece of 2.5 inch by 3 7/8 designer series paper, and this designer series paper is what I cut off of this piece right here, so they will match up. Okay, so we'll add this to the inside of our card, and then we need our easel mechanism, which is that warm wishes sentiment that we did earlier. So we're going to take a couple of dimensionals for this. And I'm going to put those right here. And then I'm going to set this down and center it on that 2.5 inch by 3 7/8 inch piece. And those dimensionals are going to act as the holder for that easel. Okay, so to finish this off, we're going to take some rhinestone basic jewels. I'm going to take your pick tool, and I'm just going to scatter a couple of these on my card here. Let's see, let's do one here, and and there. Okay, and that is our Warm Wishes Winter Owl card, easel card. Okay, I hope you like that. Not too hard and pretty quick to make. Once you get your die cuts cut out, which you can cut all of those things. If you have the large Stampin' and Cut and Emboss machine, you can cut them all in one pass. And this inside sentiment, may you have time to enjoy the quiet moments of the season, is also from the Winter Owls. And then, of course, we've got to finish that off with an envelope. And so I just took my owl and stamped it right there on the front. And there you have it. Quick and easy easel card that you can use for really just about any winter occasion. You could make that a birthday card or a sympathy card, whatever you might need this season with that winter owl bundle. All right. Thank you, Cynthia. I'm so glad you enjoyed that. Let's go ahead and put this away. And we will move to our 3D project. Just pick up a couple of things here and get them out of the way. All right. So for our 3D project, well, let me go ahead and show you a second card I made just as inspiration for you. This is using the Winter Meadow Designer Series paper. Really quick. This card is really quick and easy. It's simple. You've got a basic card base, a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of the Magical Meadows Designer Series paper. I stamped the owl on basic white in early espresso. Stamp the Sending Love with Night of Navy ink. And then this is cut out with a stylish shape. This is the bordered ribbon in Night of Navy. And then I added the adhesive back snowflakes from the online exclusive and some festive pearls in the center. And there you have a very nice card. Okay, and again for this, the envelope, I just stamped some of the trees from the winter owls with the moon, and on the back I added another owl. Okay, so there's a second card idea for you. It's very quick and very easy. You could easily mass produce this card in very little time. Okay, so we've got that. Just wanted to show you another idea for your winter owls. And now let's get started on our 3D project. Now, in addition to the winter owls, you're going to need the Merriest tree dies because our treat box is being made from the tag die in the Merriest trees. This particular die set comes with the Merriest Trees stamp set. You can get them bundled. They are carrying over, so get them now if you want them because they will not be in a bundle past January 3rd. Okay, so we're just using the die out of that today, the tag die, because as soon as I saw that tag die, I knew I had to make a treat box using it. These kinds of treat boxes come together very quickly. Okay. In addition to that, I'm going to use the Winter Wishes sentiment from the Magical Metal, but you could use whatever sentiment you already have on hand. So let's go ahead and get started. We need to cut from Night of Navy 2 of these tag dies. Okay, so I've done that. We've got 2 of them. Oh, from the Merriest Trees dies, I also cut 2 of the tag, what do they call those? Reinforcers, 1 for each tag. Okay, then we just need a scrap piece of basic white to cut our owl. Okay, and we've already stamped that owl, so let's go ahead and we'll bring back in the mini. And we'll grab that owl die. And you know what? While we're at it, we might just as well cut the second one. If we're going to run it through, we might just as well cut it. Let me move this out of the way for just a second. I use a piece of Post-it tape. Settle that in right where I need it to be. Get another piece. You can see how easy it is to do multiples right here on the mini cut and emboss. And because I'm showing you how easy it is, let's go ahead and do this one too. And that will cut out all of those 3 things in one pass. Put our top plate on. Run those through. And then we'll have all those pieces for our projects. Okay. And that is tiny enough that we just can set it on our desk. Here's the owl we need. have that other owl that we used on the other card. Okay. Simple and quick. Got that done. Okay. So let's go ahead and add our reinforcers to our tags. And I'm going to do that with just a little bit of liquid glue. But before I do that, I'm going to fold it in half on its score line. It already, if you can see that, it has a score line in it for you. So I'm just going to take a little bit of liquid glue. I'm going to put a little bit at the top of each hole and at the bottom of each hole. And if you know me at all, you know I can't do anything without tweezers. I'll line those holes up, fold that over, and then make sure my hole is all lined up there and give it a good press. Okay. And I have to hold it for just a second because that's liquid glue and it doesn't grab instantly. So for this second tag is actually going to be the back side, but because I'm pulling a ribbon through, I wanted to go ahead and decorate it a little bit as well. Okay, so we'll do that. Put that down. Line up those holes. Scooch that over just a tiny bit, which the liquid glue allows me to do. Give that a good press. Okay, there we are. Now, let's decide. We need to stamp on one of these. So we're going to bring in a piece of scrap paper here. And let me move this out of the way so I don't lose it. And we need some Night of Navy ink. And I'm going to take the tree, the winter tree, from this set, and I'm going to ink that up in Night of Navy. Make sure I've got that good and inky. And then I'm going to stamp that down. I'm going to ink it up again. And I'm going to vary the tree height a little bit. Make sure that's well inked. Okay. And I actually am happy with that. That looks good to me. Let's let that sit for just a minute. Night of Navy ink does take just a tiny bit of time to dry because it is such a dark ink. So let's go ahead and take our scrap piece of white and let's stamp our sentiment. And we're going to do that also in the Night of Navy ink. So we're going to take Winter Wishes. And again, the Winter Wishes is from Magical Meadow. Ink that up nicely. And I'm going to put this down on my other surface so I can see better where I'm stamping. Okay. Then we're going to punch this out using the double oval punch. This is in the annual catalog. And I cut this piece, I think, 1.25 inches. Yep, 1.25 inches to save paper. So I'll just take my Winter Wishes and slide it in here and line that up how I want it. And then give it a punch. And my sentiment is ready. And because I did that Night of Navy, I'm going to be careful with that ink so I don't smear it until it gets a good dry. Okay, now this will be ready. Actually, let's wait just a little bit longer. Make sure that ink doesn't smear. And let's make our box. So we need a piece of Night of Navy. Here's our template. I've cut this at 3 1/4 by 3 1/2 inches. Let's bring in our Simply Scored tool. That's my preferred scoring tool. You can score with your trimmer, but I prefer the scoreboard, the Simply Scored. And on the 3 1/4 inch side, 3 1/4, we're going to score this at 1/2 on each end. Okay, this ensures that we have uniformity in our measurements. And then we're going to rotate it to the 3 1/2 inch side, and we're going to score at 1 1/2 and rotate it 180 and score again at 1 1/2, so that we're 1 1/2 and 1 1/2 from each end. And that's all there is to our box. Okay, so we're going to fold and burnish on all the score lines. And then we're going to take our paper snips. And I'm going to cut up on these 2 small squares, and I'm going to cut on the outside of the small square on each side. And then I'm going to angle cut from the inside of the small square out so that I look like that. And then I'm going to rotate it 180, and again I'm going to cut to the outsides of the small square on the score lines, and then miter cut out the score line. That removes the score line, and we get a nicer finish to our box. Okay, and then we're going to take a little bit of tear and tape, and we are going to put a little tear tape on this piece. Pardon my reach. I like to tear with my ruler. So I've got a flat edge there. Okay, and then pick one side that's next to those. So I'm going to use this side, and I'm going to, on the outside edge, put tear and tape on both of these. And this is all on the inside of the box. Okay, so now we've got that. I like to burnish my tear and tape to ensure that it's nice and stuck so it doesn't come off later. Then I use my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to remove all that adhesive. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to fold the piece, this large piece that doesn't have any adhesive on it. I'm going to fold this up. I'm going to fold my 2 small triangles up to meet that for a square edge there at the bottom. Okay, so I get a nice corner. I'm going to do that on this side too. It might be easier for you to do it on the table. Okay, so we've got that. All right, and then I'm going to fold these 2 edges up to meet this score line here, making sure that my top edges meet. Okay, so that those tops are even. And then I'm going to repeat this on this side. Now, by putting this little square on the outside of this piece, that provides me with a very smooth finish on the inside, so my treats will not hang up on those tabs. And that's why I do it that way. because now I don't have to worry about my treats getting hung up on those tabs when I'm putting them in. Okay, so here's our box in effect. So now we're going to take this and we're going to add our tag to the front. And again, I'm going to do that with some liquid glue. And I'm going to put the glue on my box so that I know right where I need glue, because my tag is taller than my box. And that's by design. And then I just need to make sure that all my sides are even. Sides and the bottom. And I've designed this so that it fits this tag perfectly. Okay, so then I like to lay mine down after I've given it a press and take my bone folder and give that a good burnish. Okay, now I can take the other side. This is the back side of my box, but I'm still going to use the front of this tag so that I have a really nice finish. And I'm going to add my Tombow liquid glue to this piece again, lining up the sides and the bottom. I like to set mine on my table to make sure that everything's flush. Okay, so I've got that, and then I'll lay that down, stick my bone folder in there, and give that a nice burnish so that it sets up. And now we have a treat box, and that was really rather easy, was it not? Okay, so what fits in this? Well, I've got Ghirardelli peppermint bark squares, and I got these in a pack from Costco, and they were on sale last week. So I got them pretty inexpensively for a large bag. And I'm just going to set 2 of those in there. And then we're going to take our sentiment. I'm going to kind of eyeball this. I'm going to go ahead and tie my bow so that I can put everything on in relationship to my bow. So I'm taking the iridescent ribbon from the mini catalog, and this is retiring. And let's see, let me check that real quick, see if I can find it quickly to see if it's on sale. Iridescent ribbon, let's see. Let's just look, because I know it's on the list, because when I looked it said retiring soon. Okay, well, I can't find it in this tiny little print. And I don't know what stamp set it went with, what bundle. Anyway, it is retiring, but I don't know for sure if it's on sale. So I'm going to just take my ribbon at a point, and I'm going to go from the front through the hole into the front of the back. Okay. And I'm actually I want to turn this over so I've got the top part of the ribbon. And then I'm going to tie myself a little bow right on the spool. And I'm not tying a knot. I'm just taking my ribbon, making a loop, then I'll swoop, and then I'll tuck. And it looks like I need a little bit of extra ribbon here, so I'm going to pull that just a little bit more. So loop, swoop, tuck in my end into this hole I have, and then pull that through. And it still looks like I didn't give myself enough ribbon. Okay, that's what happens when you try to conserve ribbon. Okay, now we should have plenty. If you measure this, you'll know that, yeah, I should have what I need now. Measure it to the top of my middle finger there. And I should have the right amount. There we go. This ribbon is really easy to tie if you give yourself enough of it. Okay. So now our package is sealed. Trim off those ends. Okay, so this is what we have thus far. And then from the Winter Owls die cuts, where's my little... What did I do with my supplies? Oh, maybe I didn't cut that. No, I know I cut it. Wonder what I did with it. I don't really want this one. This one's really too long. Might have to cut myself another one because I think I might have lost it. Oops. Where did my package of supplies for this project go? Sorry about that, guys. Okay, let's just grab a piece of early espresso cardstock and cut ourselves a tree branch. Because I'm not sure what happened to the one I cut. Okay. So, oh, here it is laying here on my table over here. It never made it to where it was supposed to go. Okay, so we have it. Just a little tree branch there. I did find it. Okay. Let's take our winter wishes. We're going to put this about right here. Let's put our tree branch down here. And okay, I'm just going to let this is going to hang off, but it's okay. I'll cut it and I'll fix that up in a minute. Take my little owl and set him here. I think I'm going to go down even further, just a little bit, just to make sure I've got room for that sentiment. Put a little bit of liquid glue on my branch. I'm not going all the way to the end of the branch because I'm going to cut a little bit of that off, and I don't want that glue all over my scissors. So let's put this down here. Move that over like that. Give it a little press. And before we go any further, we cannot forget, we need to put a little wink of Stella. I wanted them to look kind of like they were icy. So I'm just going to give them just a little bit of wink of Stella. Okay. Make that branch look a little bit icy. And then I'm going to put just a little bit of wink of Stella on his tail feathers here. Okay. And then we're going to pop him up on some dimensionals, which I have laying here right in front of me. Two. Okay, and again, before we set this down, let's put our little winter wishes up here. And it's going to stick off a little bit. And put a little owl right here so he appears to be sitting on our branch. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of Stampin' Seal right in the center of my sentiment. And stick that on. Okay. And there you have it. A beautiful little quick, easy treat box. Very little supplies. It's quick, it's easy, and kind of pretty. I think I'll be making these for the Winco peeps for the winter. Okay, so here's a copy of that template if you want to see it. It will be over on my blog on Saturday, this template. You can find that at kntdesignsbyteresa.blogspot.com. Or if you go to my my Facebook business page, there's a link there where you can go directly to the website. So let's bring back in those cards just so you can take another look and get some inspiration for this stamp set if you have it or if you want it and you were wondering how to use it. Here is our, oh, thanks, Cynthia. I'm so glad you like that, our easel card. I know that's kind of hard to see, but there you have it. All of our designs to give you inspiration for the winter owls. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you back here next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Have a good week. Good night, everybody.